Hello and welcome to Love in the Time of Hydra. If you don't know it by now, we're an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. Today, we're going back to March 10th, 2015. Surprise, surprise, Uptown Funk was the top song. And Chappie was the number one movie at the domestic box office. An interesting thing, the family of Marvin Gaye won a $7.3 million lawsuit for copyright infringement against Robin Thicke, Pharrell Williams, and T.I., after claiming blurred lines resembled Got to Give It Up. So made some money there. This really made me laugh. A large number of Class A drugs became legal in Republic of Ireland after a legislative mistake was overruled. So, like, this prompted some, like, emergency legislation being rushed through. But basically, like, for one day in Ireland, everything goes 10 years ago when it came to drugs. Some birthdays. Sharon Stone turned 57. John Hamm turned 44. Bad Bunny turned 21. Olivia Wilde turned 31. And Captain America, the Winter Soldier's own Danny Pody turned 36. But obviously, the most important thing that happened on March 10th in 2015 was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 episode Who You Really Are, aired on ABC at 9, 8 Central. Hello, I'm Jamie Jarek, and I'm here with my co-host, boyfriend, and level 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, Tony Paletta. Hey, Tony!
Sky is Quake.
Oh, thank God. He did it, everybody. Okay, wait, we gotta get Steve in here. We have a returning guest, our good friend. He's a big Marvel fan. He's a co-creator of Mind in the Gutter comics, Steve Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, I was laughing so hard.
I did
Sky
it.
is Quake.
I did it.
That is freaking out.
Wait, can I tell you something, Tony?
Yeah.
Not an hour ago, hour and a half ago, Jamie texts me and is like, heads up, don't say Quake at all. Because Tony and I texted her, I was like, thank you for telling me this now, because it would have been hard to I would have been in my head the whole time.
You're off the hook.
So funny.
Steve literally goes, he'll surely figure it out this week. And I went, I don't know, buddy.
Yeah. She was telling me.
Wow.
So talk us through it, Tony. Like, what clicked?
Please.
Okay, so just like, well, I don't know Quake from the comics. I only know Quake is a character on this show because prior to us starting this podcast, Jamie would go on and on like she really liked this character. This is a cool character, and the name Quake, stuck in my head. And then knowing in the back of my mind, and then there was an earthquake that was being caused by a character, and I said, could this be the infamous Quake? And it just, guys, all fell into place. I'm so relieved to feel. I still feel like a dumbass, but like less like
no. Yeah,
I'm on it.
Well, okay, so 2 episodes ago was like the first time there was the earthquake. They like there was a big earthquake, and then last week's episode was called Aftershocks.
Cool, because of earthquakes.
Yeah, but have you clocked the bigger picture that's going on?
No.
Okay, like
that's okay.
If she's Quake, what does that mean? Okay, you know what? We could use the word Quake.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That says she's so excited she started screaming and probably scared her neighbors.
I like to think that you like woke up in the middle of the night sweating. Like you woke up just be like, it's Quake. She's Quake. Jamie, wake up. She's Quake.
It was a quiet revelation that literally occurred about 10 minutes into the episode as we were watching it earlier today. So yeah, I'm here, guys. We're all here.
Not to jump ahead, but the vibrating of the gun. That's why I was like, surely he'll get it after this one.
You had more faith in you than I did.
I did. I had faith in you, buddy. And honestly, like I knew Quake. I've known Quake as a reader. She was also big on S.H.I.E.L.D. in the books. So I get why, like, this show plus the horrible Inhuman show was like the first like mainstream of Inhumans. So I get it. And tell me when to go on this tangent, but I was actually upset at Marvel at the time for how they were handling Inhumans and mutants. But
Okay, we will talk
yeah,
about that in a
yeah,
little bit. Not
yep,
quite, because I want to, before we dive, because there's actually a lot to talk about
yeah.
today. That's not just about this episode. There's some interesting things going on. But Steve, you haven't been on our show since we did our Guardians Patreon for the 10th anniversary, so it's been a minute. What's going on with you? Are there any Mind in the Gutter updates? Are you selling anywhere cool? What's
Oh
going
yeah,
on with that?
yeah. So me and a buddy of mine, Derek Mawson, who is an artist in Chicago, we both had collections. We both talked a lot about comic books, and then one day we were like, let's just put our collection together and start selling them. So we sell them on Whatnot, the Whatnot app, which is like eBay meets TikTok. But then we have a local convention in June. If anybody's in Chicago, I'll hook you up. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be on like this side of nerddom, like the sales side. I finally have an output for my big collection, which Natalie, my wife, is very happy with, and it's fun to be in, like, to see how that works, you know. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. Keep you can follow them on Instagram, everybody. So keep an eye out.
Wait, salty shield Stan said Steve said the thing. What did I say?
It's okay. We're gonna just brush by it. I do want to say hi to everybody in the chat, and I want to thank everybody for being here at 1, because we just announced yesterday we were doing today at 1. If you're frustrated by these changes, I'm sorry. Keep an eye out on Instagram. We realized that we only were doing 5 o'clock because I had a job that I don't anymore. So 1, I feel like 1 is a good time, but we're gonna put up a poll on Instagram. So if you hate this time, but I know some of you are like in the UK and Australia, so this might be better for you. So keep an eye out so you can vote. I want to shout out Beth on Instagram for pointing out that March 9th is 3 years away from talking about the 100th episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is such a big one for fans and for me personally, because I moderated that panel. So that's a fun thing to think about 3 years from now. And I also want to give a shout out to everyone who's been engaging with us on Blue Sky, Wayne Brown, Nick, aka Indulgent Geek, that you guys both repost us a lot, and I appreciate that. Trying to spread that Blue Sky gospel. So thank you. Tony, why don't you tell the chat the rules?
Oh yeah, guys. So
and Steve, tell me again.
And Steve, don't put spoiler alert if you're going to say anything spoilery that pertains to anything after the episode we're talking about today. That protects me from being spoiled, and it protects hopefully people who are watching live along with me. You know, experiencing the show for the first time would be great. If you don't tag your spoilers, our producer Maria will stab you with a homemade knife.
Pretty good. Nailed it. Okay, so before we get into this episode, though, there's some interesting things happening. First of all, Clark Gregg made some headlines recently for revealing his one regret from his time in Marvel, and it's really just like a cute thing where he wishes he got to share the screen with someone. Tony, do you want to guess which character he wishes he would have been with on the big screen?
A character he wishes he would have been with on the big screen. I don't know. T'Challa?
No, but you're not far off. Steve, you want to give it a chance? A guess?
You're not far off with T'Challa. Shuri?
Mm-hmm. No, it's Ramonda. He really wishes he could have worked with Angela Bassett. So they're both in Netflix's Zero Day, but I don't think they really work together on it. So he told People Magazine, he said, I did get to speak with her once, and I said, my one regret with Marvel Universe was that Agent Phil Coulson was no longer technically alive when Wakanda showed up. The technically is doing a lot of work here.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. But a much bigger thing happened yesterday, and Silverson on Blue Sky asked me about this, and I was like, we have to talk about this. Clark Gregg posted a photo to his stories yesterday. Tony, I'm just gonna need you to close your eyes while Maria.
Okay. Oh, this is fun. Tony closes his eyes. It's a new segment.
Tony closes his eyes. Maria, can you pull up the photo that Clark Gregg posted on Instagram yesterday? Okay, so it's this photo, and he says, "Let's go." Soak it in. Take a look at this photo. Marie, you can remove it so that Tony can open his eyes. Okay, Tony, you can open your eyes.
Wow, I wonder what it was.
Yeah. So this is a photo of Coulson on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyone in the chat knows exactly what this image is from, what episode, what season, everything. But he posted it and he said, "Let's go." And everyone's like, "What does this mean? Doomsday, Secret Wars." Here's the thing, everybody. I have a pretty strong theory, and you're not going to like it. Clark Gregg is in Good Night and Good Luck on Broadway, which starts this week. And the outfit he's wearing in that photo is very of the era of Good Night and Good Luck. I think that he's just plugging Good Night and Good Luck, and he didn't have any photos of himself in the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I genuinely think that's what it is.
I think you're right. But man,
yeah.
like Clark Gregg, come on, man. Like
careful,
everybody knows you. Yeah.
He's trolling us. Because listen, if this was a Coulson tease, he would have posted himself in the classic suit, right?
Yeah.
He's not, because that costume is so specific that like it has to be Good Night and Good Luck. So sorry to burst anybody's bubble.
That's really funny. I mean, you're right, but people are also right to think that that's a like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. So, okay, that's all the stuff, the news now. Now we can get into this episode, Who You Really Are. Was written by a friend of the show, Drew Z. Greenberg. He was on previously. He's currently working on a new pilot called Stay Gold, so keep an eye out for that. I'm hoping we can get him back on the pod in April, but he might be busy writing his pilot, so I no promises. The episode was directed by Roxanne Dawson, who previously did I Spy and Ragtag. This is her final episode that she directed. Now, out of our 8 main characters, once again, 2 weeks in a row, no Ward.
Yeah,
I
that's
honestly once again, did not clock it.
2 thumbs up.
This show clearly does not need you, Agent Ward.
Yeah, it does fine without you, Ward.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. We love you, Brett. I wrote in my notes, did Tony notice? He sure didn't.
Did not.
We've got a huge guest star this week. Jamie Alexander is back as Lady Sif. Steve was on our last Lady Sif episode. That's why he's here again today, and we just love him. We've got Eddie McClintock as Vintak the Kree, and Henry Simmons is still a guest star. Will he ever become a series regular? No one knows. I don't know. Steve, so you were on our last Sif episode. How does this compare for you? What did you think of this episode?
I liked it better. Let's see. I liked it better for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I like the first one better for like Asgardian's story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
This one was the better one for the show, but the other one was like good Asgardian law. But this one had a lot of references of like Asgardian education, you know? Like they go through it and I'm like, man, if we think that the US education system is all messed up, like I'm envious of Asgard's. They're learning all the languages of the 9 realms. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's why Thor speaks Groot.
Yeah. I love it.
You know, he took it as an elective.
Yeah. If I was a civilian in the MCU or Marvel Universe, I would try and apply to Asgardian University. Like, they should have realm exchange programs, you know?
That would rule.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it's easier now that there's new Asgard on Earth. I bet you
That's
could,
true.
like, I totally bet you could study abroad at New Asgard. That's probably easy.
Yeah.
Let's see. It occurred to me. I had the thought, just jump to the very end real quick for this one small comment. But when send down the Rainbow Bridge or whatever for everybody so that Sif could take the Kree back up to the other realms, I was like, man, do you think Coulson or May considered like just jumping in there real quick? Like taking that ride, because I'm like, because they obviously they're dealing with some supernatural stuff over the course of the show, but like, there's your opportunity right there to like go to another world. I mean, I wish there had been one line of dialogue. Like, did you think about going in? Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been fun.
I feel like Coulson definitely did, but May didn't even cross her mind. I feel like
probably right.
She doesn't give a shit, right? Like she doesn't. Yeah.
May's not trying to go to space.
No.
All right, Tony, did you like this one?
I did like this one. Yeah, I think I liked the other Sif one more. I think because it was more I don't know. It was just such a jolt of energy. I mean, I love Lady Sif. We've talked about it before, and I was very happy to see her back in here. Although I was concerned. I said, "What's wrong? You're acting mean. Why are you being like this, Sif?" And I thought, "Is that Sif?" And I was like, "Okay, it's Amnesia Sif." But yeah, I agree with you, Steven, that this is kind of a better Shield episode because we are. It's not a the other Sif one was kind of like a fun little one-off. This episode is dealing also with all the plot lines that we've been developing over the course of this season. So yeah, it's a little more congealed, and also just surprised that we had real tangible Kree representation in this show prior to Captain Marvel. Like that's really cool to see.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. The way the timeline matched up, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As a reader, a nerdy reader, you made me think of something, Tony, really quick. When you get issues weekly, some of the issues are one-offs, and some of the issues are going to tie into the overarching event. And I think you just brought up a cool parallel between readers and watchers of Marvel. Is like that's sometimes you take it for what it is as a one-off, and you'll never see it again, or sometimes you do. And sometimes it's nice to just like get back to our main story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like how they decided to like let the team know about what's going on with Sky, have this kind of fun outer the Kree, and we've seen Kree on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before, but we've only seen the Kree corpse. So this was like the first living Kree that we've seen.
Right.
And we've obviously saw Kree in Guardians, so there is all this thing. But what's funny, or not funny, but interesting is they mentioned Hala in this episode. Like, I'm taking him back to Hala. And that's the first time I really clocked Hala being referenced on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because that becomes such a big thing in Captain Marvel, and especially the Marvels. So so I that's why I love rewatching the show, because there's always something.
You're right. You're totally right. I mean, there's a few things I wrote down that we'll get to where I'm like, oh, that's so cool how I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has the most like mentions of other stuff, like maybe Daredevil, but I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has the most mention of because that's all they could work with, right?
Yeah.
But it is, to your point, Jamie, to go back and watch these, it is fun to be like, oh man, that was probably the first time they mentioned that. That's neat.
Yeah. Totally. Very cute. All right, so this episode starts off in Portugal, and I just wrote my notes. Very nice music. I was hoping to find out if Bear McCreary like maybe wrote like that little bit that the guy was playing, but I did not find any information about that. But then we get Lady Sif coming out of the ocean, and she doesn't know who she is, and Tony said, "Oh no!"
I did. I said, "Oh no."
Oh no. Natalie, I was rewatching it with Natalie, my wife, and she was like, "Amnesia, classic soap opera trope." She's like, "I know this trope really well."
Well, what's funny was Jamie Alexander was also starting a show called Blind Spot that was all about her having amnesia.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Can I say the moment she comes out of the water and the dude hits on her and she punches him, first of all, that dude, all of his ribs would be broken.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Internal bleeding.
Second of all, it goes back to our original Sif episode where we were talking about like civilians dealing with metahumans or aliens or whatever, and how this dude still thinks that she came out of the water in leathers and a sword, and you're gonna like try and flirt with this woman? Are you out of your mind?
Huge mistake.
It reminded me of the bikers in the other Sif episode where they're like, what do we got here? It's like, she's wearing Asgardian armor. Don't like think that you're going to be able to take her. How dare you?
She's either super powered or fucking insane, and you wouldn't want to fuck with her in any instance.
Yeah.
And after that, we get Sky and May are training. We get a little Mortal Kombat reference, which I'm sure Tony enjoyed because Tony loves Mortal Kombat.
I do. It's my mythology.
And I like, the moment where she says to May, "I didn't want to hurt you," and then May looks at her like, "Ugh," and I didn't want to try to hurt you. Like Sky's really struggling with
Yeah.
holding in this secret. Like she was getting so good at controlling the emotions and everything, and now it's all gone to hell. And Fitz interrupts. And what how are you feeling about Fitz this episode, Tony?
Well, I said in the last one, it's a little disappointing just because he is protecting this secret, and he's protecting it out of all 100% good intentions and kindness. But I know it's going to create problems, and it already has. The secrecy. He didn't tell Simmons, and Simmons is already fucking tripping about superpower people. She's got some serious fear that she's trying to compensate for by making the night gun like more dangerous, and there's just this real dark edge to her that I find very interesting now. So I feel for Fitz very much. He's a good one. But like this was all, of course, this is where it went.
None of them handled it well.
Nope.
None of them handled it well. But I think at the end of the day, Fitz, I'm on Fitz's side. Like we protect our loved ones, and like if we had a nickel for every time secrets were like messed up something in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we'd be billionaires.
They're spies.
But
They got secrets. Like, what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? Put their logo on their cars?
And this episode, and a lot of episodes, but this episode was a good example of like two secrets, two storyline, two secrets that are like muddying up the waters.
Yep.
That's a good segue into like this scene of like we just watched Bobby and Hunter get done fucking. It's like just those network TV fucking like panting. I can't say this for sure, but like I wish we had Drew on just to be like, that was your idea, right? You wanted to see Bobby and Hunter get it on.
That was hot. They are a hot couple. Both of them are very hot. But can I ask Tony a question? Because when I was on last for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we hadn't met Bobby and Hunter yet.
Yeah.
So in your eyes, Tony, are you Fitzsimmons or are you Bobby Hunter?
I think I'm Bobby Hunter. And Jamie had, made a comment that I remember well, was just you don't get to see a lot of romantic subplot characters who have a deep, rich history. Yeah. And so that makes them there's a lot of electricity in the history of them, and they're hot. And I like how forthright they've been about why they don't work. Like they can like one of the other times they banged this season was like, you don't do this, you do this, and you do that. Cut to bam, they're doing it. Like, I just really like that energy. It's really, really entertaining. I like both of those characters, so I'm more that team. Honestly, the Fitzsimmons thing I feel is just an eventual thing that's going to happen, but I'm like that neither of them have yet been on a platitude together where it would make sense. So Bobby Hunter, I'm with.
I agree.
So not Sky and Ward. We're still not.
No, Jamie,
that,
damn well.
Dare you?
Just like to mix things up. So we learned that Coulson is trying to get Mac and Hunter to kind of stay permanently. He wants Mac to like be more than just a mechanic, because like you're a giant fucking brute of a man, and you can probably do more. And one thing that that Mac says that like makes my skin crawl is the way he says alien crap. Like it just feels like, I get it. His mind was taken over by something alien, and he's still reeling from that. But the way he says it, there's just so much like bigotry behind it. And it is a big part of why Fitz is afraid to tell people about Sky.
Yeah.
Wait,
a good point.
Elaborate. Why Fitz is afraid? Why?
To tell people about Sky, because he knows that people are gonna that he knows how they would react, like to her being whatever it is.
Totally.
So they go to Portugal to pick up Sif. I really want to shout out the guy who worked at the police station. I really liked this actor when he's like, I'm glad I'm not the one to tell her.
No.
He had a good little scene. I hope that guy's doing well.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny that they figure it out because Sky found a video on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's Sky's zone, and it would be on Twitter.
It probably would be on Twitter.
Yeah. And that's a cool fight on the pier. And then we hear the guy say, "Someone on your world has changed. I'm here to hunt them down." Did you, Tony, in that moment, figure it with Sky or Reyna that he was talking about?
Not in that moment.
Okay.
It was like a couple scenes later. I was like, "Oh, he's after Sky."
When they
yeah.
said it, when they spelled it out for you.
That's correct, Jamie. Thank you. Yes, when they said it explicitly is when I understood what they were talking about. Thank you. Yes, that was cool. I liked Sif through her amnesia being constantly giddy about how badass she is. Like,
oh yeah,
she's like, I wonder if I know the king. It's like, no, you do. Oh, I do. Like that's just so much fun. Like, yeah, you are fucking awesome, girl.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And
I
have a feeling this was around the time where it was like, are Thor and Sif gonna get together in the MCU? Because when they mentioned Thor, she's like, but I feel so aflutter about it. She was like, I don't remember him, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that moment because May's like, yeah, girl, I get it.
I get it.
I thought Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I feel like they touch on that a lot, right? In Love and Thunder, Sif being in love with Thor.
Yeah.
But that was that. I feel like that was never gonna happen. And I'm still really salty about how much Sif wasn't in that movie. But that's a podcast for many years from now.
Yeah.
So let's see. I like Sif talking to like the old guy in the pier, like, answer my question, elderly man.
You know who that was, right? You know that old man, right?
Who
was it?
He's from I Think You Should Leave. He's the sketch where they're at the focus group, and he's giving bad ideas for a car, and he's like, he admitted it. Yeah, that's that guy's first appearance.
Amazing.
Wow. He admitted it. And he was also in Quantum Mania, right? He thought Ant-Man was Spider-Man. He was like the clerk at the ice cream shop or something.
Oh, yeah. But in that, he was like dressed as that character that he's now known for.
Yeah.
I did not clock that. Nice going, Steve.
Got one.
Yeah. One fun thing that I little kind of a note. I like that Bobby can speak Portuguese, but she's like, it's harder to tell if someone's lying. I think that was like a cool little spy detail. I really respected that choice.
I dug that too. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We all agree. Nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say.
We find out that this guy needs liquid nitrogen and he's blue. And I wrote in my notes, does Tony know who is blue? But they did eventually say he was a Kree, so Tony didn't need to guess.
Yeah.
For a moment, I did think he was a frost giant like Loki.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Because like the whatever the gas might keep him cold or something like that. But it was quickly dispelled. And the way it was dispelled was they explicitly told me that he was a Kree and that they gave me the information, so I was no longer confused.
I also wrote my notes. What did Sky make happen, Tony? See if really trying to push it along. We learned that kava means keys. I like the moment where she tries to explain to Coulson what keys are. He's like, I know good. That one. Thank you.
I got it.
And then this whole Bobby and Mac thing, Bobby suggests bringing Hunter on board. Mac shuts it down. And he says, this is, I feel like, important. He doesn't want him in case he takes their side. And, it's very clear based on what they're talking about that they're not Hydra. She specifically said, we are not Hydra. But I do find this whole thing really annoying where it's like Mac is like, push Hunter away. And Bobby's like, okay. And like, I find that really to be annoying.
I still don't understand his logic of push. The only way to like get him is to push him away. It's like, no, Mac, you just don't want him around. Like
Yeah.
you're reaching for it.
Their relationship is I think is just so tempestuous that he thinks that it would become a conflict later on, or he just wants to fuck Bobby. I don't really know, but
Maybe.
yeah.
That never would have crossed my mind, because as we know at this point, I thought Mac was gay, but
You think Mac's gay?
yeah, that's just the truth. At this point in the show, I do like when Mac says though maybe there's a world where we're all friends in the end. Like he is, and I think in my theory here is that like I think that while Bobby is afraid of Hunter finding this out, I'm sure Mac doesn't want Fitz to feel disappointed in him, because I know he feels like a brotherly love to Fitz.
Yes, absolutely.
So they go back to they're in Portugal, and we find out that Chavez is where Whitehall first found the obelisk. Sky says she wants to sit it out. This is a little sus. The Kree guy claims he has noble intentions. Okay. Bobby is looking at his little baby hammer. I think it's funny that he's the only one who can use it, because I'm like, okay, Thor, with your little tiny little hammer. Heard of that one before.
I looked it up. It's called a truncheon is the weapon. And I guess I've never heard of it, but it's like a baton. Like it is an actual thing, but his was like a Kree truncheon that had memory erasing technology.
It sure did.
It's like cool. One of those like, it's Marvel science, blah 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 blah. Like yeah.
Why is Bobby the one looking at it though? Like why isn't it Gemma or Fitz or why is Bobby the one? It's like they needed to write her an extra scene to continue her story with Hunter, because like I just feel like Bobby's very smart, but she's like a field agent. She's not someone who's studying Kree weapons.
Yeah. It's like, well, Bobby, you have batons, so maybe look at this thing. It's
your weapons are similar.
Yeah.
Can you guys clarify why Sky is so concerned about going on this mission? Is she afraid because it's so closely rooted to her, or is it because of this new power and she's concerned about that, like going haywire while she's on the scene?
I think it's both. I think she is trying to protect her secret until she has it figured out.
Right.
And also she's worried about panicking and then shit going crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say everyone in the comments is pointing out that Bobby is a science girl. Okay. I feel like one woman can only have so many skills, but
yeah, you tell them, Jamie.
Yeah, women should be knocked down a few pegs in my opinion.
Yeah, let them know. It's the day after National Women's Day. You can say this shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think like Allison in the comments, like Sky's scared that she can't control her powers. I really think that's what it comes down to. Which it makes sense. Let's see here. We do hear about the Kree start talking about the Terrigenesis. And that's where it clicks to Sky when I think it was Raina who told her like the blue angels come down, like they're obviously all very connected. We're learning that whatever is going on with Quake has to do with this Terrigenesis.
We can say it now. We can say it now.
Quake. And then we find out that they made enough diviners for an army, but the crate is empty. It seems like it was probably taken in the 40s. There's a lot going down.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that because we've been dealing with one obelisk, and now it's like there were 6, and we know what that thing can do, and it's disconcerting.
Tony, you better buckle up.
I mean, we could spend 7 whole seasons of a show on a hunt for obelisks. I mean, that it took them forever to get one. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all right. It's the ultimate MacGuffin more than the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Wait. Back up. You had mentioned Chavez, and May was like Chavez means keys, and I don't think it's a direct link, but it did remind me of America Chavez, who was the key in Multiverse of Madness. What do you think of that, Jamie?
Wow, incredible.
You see what I'm saying?
You're right.
Show me your Charlie crazy board that got you there.
I don't think they're linked, but it's it's interesting that America Chavez was created based on being this portal, this key to unlock the other multiverses. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, fun.
I feel like
Anyway.
I have to throw the chat a bone, a drinking bone, and I mentioned how let's not ever forget that Dawn is a key on Buffy as well. Take your drinks. So this is when it's all coming to a head. They're grilling Skye. She's freaking out. They're calling her an abomination. She starts quaking. That kind of now I would say it's an iconic shot of the series where the glass breaks behind her. It's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good looking shot. Good emotional power from her. She's bringing it. Love it.
And
I don't blame her at all. That's a hard power, man. That's a hard power. And if it's controlled by your emotions, man, like the first time you experience it, you can cause an insane earthquake. No, thank you. Nah.
Yeah. Terrifying.
And they say to her, you were designed to destroy. And that's that's something that I'm going to put a pin in and remember to go back to when Tony leaves the room. I didn't put it in my notes, so I'm just going to say it out loud so that somebody helps me remember. We get this Kree fight, a lot going on. We get Bobby with her batons right in the field where she should be.
Yeah, not in the lab.
Women should be fighting. And then big moment. Fitz pulls out the fucking gun that Coulson pulls out Loki in Avengers.
Coulson's revenge. You loved it.
That was dope to see.
I don't know. They have a name for the gun, but I played this game. It was like a Facebook of Marvel turn-based game that was around for years. I got so deep into it, and it's like 3-on-3. You could be Hulk, you could be White Queen, you could be Psylocke. And I played this game for a really long time, and it's always like your character, you're a SHIELD agent, and then whoever 2 Marvel characters you have on your team. And I always was packing what it was called in there, Coulson's Revenge, that big ass gun, because it's incredibly powerful. So I always call it Coulson's Revenge.
I think that's the better name, because I think it's like technically called Destroyer Gun, but Coulson's Revenge is Bambino. Yeah.
Bambino's a cool name too, but I like it.
Yeah. No, Coulson's Revenge is dope. May takes Skye to the cell that was holding Ward earlier this season. She tries to calm her down. Sif starts coming in, and then Skye fucking ices herself, which is like bleak. This is gonna come up. This is gonna come up later in a way that, I think it's very obvious she's doing it to protect everybody. She's not doing it to hurt herself.
No. Yeah. She's doing it. That's the only thing at this moment that will stop her from doing that.
Yeah, it's not a self-harm thing. It's taking yourself out of the equation.
Yeah. I respected the move, I will say.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I was looking down and I was like, wait, who iced Skye? Oh, wait, I remember she iced herself because I did. So then they have their goodbyes with Sif. She's back in her armor. She's taking the Kree back to Hala. He's been hit with his own weapon. I like when he says, "Why is my hand not blue?" Sif has this warning, I'm smarter than you, and there are tides in the universe you cannot swim against. And I think that's really dark, foreboding.
Yeah.
And then May kind of recalls, back to the beginning, back to when they found these files on Skye. Wherever she goes, death follows.
Yeah, it's serious shit, man. Feel it.
Poor Skye.
I
hope she's gonna be okay.
What do you think, Tony?
What do you mean? What do I think? I didn't know Quake was Quake. What do you want? What do you expect from me? I'm
trying here, man.
I'm dog shit at predicting what's going on. Sif said something very vague and, as Jamie said, foreboding, very ominous. I think that I like the implication of the sort of cosmic doom and ambivalence. It's really, really cool, and it makes good drama. And then we already knew death follows her. That's and we're seeing that to be true. Skye feels it. She feels her like she is a problem. She is dangerous, but she has so much love for her team that she doesn't want to put them in danger. I like that she elects to put herself in that hole. You know what I mean? She's packed. And Jamie, I'm sure that's the next thing you're going to talk about. She overhears this fight,
Right.
Yeah, that's it. We're
Yeah.
going to take a quick pause because we haven't taken a break yet because we were so into what was happening. So we're going to take a quick 30-second break, go to the bathroom, refill your drinks. You know the business. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Loving the Time of Hydra. We're here with our friend Steve talking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 12. I want to shout out to Frosted Robot's comment where he says, Tony having enough of y'all's nonsense. We've really been giving Tony a hard time the last couple weeks. But everyone, we were at a party last night and we met 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans and we were excited. And I was telling them all about how Tony was slow on the uptick. And they were laughing.
We had a whole segment called Tony Leaves the Bar. Where I had to just let them walk away so those nerds could talk about the show.
Did you do it? Did you actually walk?
Yeah, he walked away.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Poor Tony.
Yeah.
So as Tony said, we have this moment now where like everyone's fighting. I really like that Fitz kind of stands his ground though.
Amen.
Because like
I agree.
everyone against Fitz and he's not budging. And I really love this fight, but then Skye walks in and it's like, oh, awkward. What do you think of this, Tony? Because you brought it up.
Everybody felt like an asshole. Literally, it's just sitting there being like, "You guys would do this, you guys would do that," and they're like, "What do you mean?" And like they're defending themselves of like, we have to protect ourselves from her. And as soon as they make eye contact with Skye, they bow their fucking heads in shame. So Fitz was right that he was probably right to protect Skye from what this is, which is not irrational, but it is unkind. And they have already, well, now that they know what she can do, they are already seeing her as a threat, and it's just sad. Nobody's wrong, but I like that we got the moment where we got to see them feel the shame of their judgment.
Yeah, both sides. To your point, like Fitz too.
Fitz too.
Fitz felt ashamed too. And you know, like Jamie, I give Mac a lot of shit in this series because there's a lot of point of views he gets where it's just like, I don't understand the logic, like what the example we brought up earlier. But I can't blame Mac for wanting to protect and have a perfect team. So to your point, Tony, like I respect that. I think me personally, like Steve, would side with Fitz of like, we love this person. You know, like we love this person. And honestly, if we get her under control, this power might be helpful for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like for S.H.I.E.L.D. in general. But we love her. We mainly love her.
And that was everyone on the team demonstrated that when the guy was like, I got to take out this woman. Every single person on this team said, fuck no. We are running into this room. We are protecting you. We are fighting on your behalf to make sure that you are safe. So it's just that this is why it's good quality tragedies, because there is no clear right, wrong, simple answer for it.
And this trope comes up so many times in superhero stories. You know, X-Men, it happens all the time. This person is dangerous, but we can hone it. What do we do with this person? I think that storyline in any medium helps me to think more empathically about the people around me, the people I care about. You know what I mean? I think that's it's a good story and narrative to, I don't mind the repeat of how many times they do that trope in the Marvel universe. You know, like it's a story we should always be like referencing, you know?
I also like it's a warranted but still a low blow where Fitz compares Skye to himself to Gemma. Like you changed when I changed and you couldn't handle it. And you know, we have heard Gemma's side of this, like talking about how she felt she thought she was making Fitz worse, and that's why she left, not because he was different, you know, all this, but like but Fitz's feelings are still really hurt about that.
Oh yeah,
it's like so hard. It's so sad. I hate watching this Fitzsimmons. It's like it makes me so sad.
No, I do too. I mean, it's why I asked Tony earlier, like Bobby Hunter, Fitzsimmons. Ultimately, to me, it's Fitzsimmons. Right now, it's Bobby Hunter. And not to go into spoilers, but like, just I agree with you, Jamie. Like, I still love Fitz, but man, you're being a real, like both of you. I love both of you, Fitz and Gemma, but you're both being real difficult right now. You know,
Talk to each other.
just talk to each other.
W's. Okay, our post-credit scene. Hunter goes to confront Mac, and Mac fucking chokes him the fuck out.
Jesus,
Mac in the field, buddy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh shit!" Like, "Uh-oh, your secret's about to be out, man."
Yeah.
I think as soon as you feel Mac's arm around your neck, it's like, oh, I'm going to sleep.
I'm done.
What am I? Toast.
I'm fucking sick. I'd be like, like if Hunter probably knows he's not gonna die because, but like I don't know, I would be like, oh, I'm dying in this moment.
Alice said, "Healthy communication is the enemy of TV couples," and I like that. Mac, and see, this is where, like, again, I love Mac, I love his character, but I will tend to disagree with it more in like this episode, for example, with the logic, and then like, Jesus, Mac, like, Jesus, Mac,
Pretty brutal.
That's brutal.
Steve, is there anything that happened in this episode that we didn't really touch on that you want to talk about? I want to talk about your issues. When Tony leaves the room.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Put a pin in that.
I talked about Chavez. I talked about I think you should leave guy. And then I just want to echo what I was saying earlier is I love like when Sif says Asgard is a millennia ahead of us in terms of science, in terms of education. And I love that shit about superheroes. Like, imagine it, you know what I mean? And it made me think, like, this episode made me think of Asgard's relationship with Midgard, you know? Like, you got the different realms, but the different realms are pretty much set. You know, like the Frost Giants, they're set in their ways. But I think Asgardians, I like to believe in my headcanon, that Asgardians really respect and protect Midgard because they see a little bit of themselves in people from Earth.
Primitive version, yeah.
Like she's like, I've seen everything, but there's still some things left unanswered. And Coulson is like, yeah, man, like we can help you answer those things that aren't answered yet. You know, like I love that. Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. It's like the Asgardians know that they're superior, but they're not. They don't act superior. They do not behave superiorly. They're compassionate, even though they're like, superior. Yeah.
Thor comes down to Earth more than he goes to the other realms. Yes. And I know it's like a bias as a reader and a watcher because like Earth is the center of the MCU universe, you know? But I think it is nice to just like think of the positives of humanity in that sense, is just like always be asking questions, always be like trying to find whatever truth, objective truth, not like your own personal truth. But that was the only thing I want to say. Also, I wanted to say, Jamie, Nat and I started rewatching ER recently. And guess who appears in season 1? But a very young, sweet Ming-Na. Yeah.
Cool.
So I thought of you because it was completely different than May's character. She was like sweet. She was smart. She was, she was like, but she was just like, is it okay if I like change this bandage up? And it's like, that's not May.
She doesn't have permission.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
It's funny because we all are also now really know her as Fennec Shand, and Fennec is kind of similar to May in a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Tony, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about from this app?
Just real quick, Steve, what was the name of the truncheon, the weapon?
Truncheon.
Truncheon.
Yeah.
I like the post-credit scene a lot, but the post-credit scene really should have been taking that fucking thing back to the hotel to help that poor amnesiac lady who's still sitting over there, doesn't know who she is.
That's a great point. Because
we did it. We fixed Sif, but that lady's going to go the rest of her life.
They saved her. We just didn't see it. They went back. Some time passed. If Sif had time to change her clothes, I'm sure they went to help that lady.
I hope they did.
That's your headcanon. That's your headcanon. You can write parts of it too.
Steve, we do a new thing on the show now where we pick our MVP of the episode. So I'll have Tony go first.
Nice.
So you can give it a second to think about it. Tony, who is your MVP this week?
I'm really tempted to say Jamie Alexander as Sif because I love her so much and it's so nice to see her. But I got to give it to Skye. What she's bringing in terms of the emotion and telling the story through her performance is really, really great. And so it's Skye again for me.
Yeah. I will always want to say Bobby because I love her so damn much. And I think she was, a bigger player in this episode. I got to give it to Skye too. I think you're right, Tony. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Not like we're in a time where it's like it's gotta be Skye, right? Like Chloe Bennett, fucking crushing it right now.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Jamie Alexander was obviously great in this episode, and it was fun. But like, it's still ultimately Skye's episode.
It's definitely Skye's. Yeah, her episode. Her
I don't know. Arguably, so far her season. It's very much about her.
And you got to give it to the writers because there could be a trap where they just put her in the background and have everybody else talking about her and just like holding her in a cell. They did well with the Skye character for the situation, and they have been and they will continue to do well by Skye for the most part.
You mean
yes. Dude, I spent a half an hour being like, don't say Quake, don't say Quake. I can't.
That's so funny. Jeremy wants to shout out the MVP as the cameraman for shaking the camera for
Jeremy's always got a good one.
Yeah, he does. So a little bit of history, some fun stuff. Jamie Alexander talked about returning, and she said that this definitely came out of the blue. It was a last minute thing. They called up and said, "Hey, you want to come back on S.H.I.E.L.D.? We need you for something very specific." And I said, "You know what? If it makes sense for the character, then I'm going to say yes to this." It's interesting that to be last minute, but that is again network TV for you, right? They break. We've had Drew, we've had Craig on talking about how they break these episodes, and so it is cool that they got anybody. Eddie McClintock, who played the Kree, his voice was digitally altered for the role, which I guess makes sense thinking about it in retrospect, but it wasn't that noticeable, which I think is cool. These are like these little IMDb fun facts. Like, so apparently there's a Crossfire Maximum Paintball arcade game and that you can see in the S.H.I.E.L.D. base. This game was released by Team Play in 2005. It's considered hard to find by collectors.
S.H.I.E.L.D. got themselves a rare game.
Yeah, that was like a Coulson find. This is a little fun IMDb tidbit. The scene in which the Vintok is captured was filmed on the location used for the entrance to the Batcave in Batman, the 1966 Batman.
Wicked. I've filmed at Vasquez Rocks before. I've been there. It's a pretty nifty place. Yeah, they used to have a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're in the Art of Initiative, where each week there's the Art of Evolution continues with a new poster. This poster this week was by Marcos Martin. If Maria, you want to pull up the poster, it's not. I can't find any good sized pictures of these. If anyone who listens to us has better images that they can send me, like on Instagram or something, please do, because like they're so tiny. Marcos Martin is a cartoonist. His credits include Doctor Strange, The Oath, The Amazing Spider-Man, and Daredevil. So you can kind of see like they went with Sif and the Sword, and then you can't really see this small, but in the S.H.I.E.L.D. letters, Skye is up in there. Yeah.
And the shattered glass is we talked about, so glass. Iconic.
Yeah, and there's something else I want to say about this poster that I can't say until Tony leaves the room, which is I know it's about time for Tony to leave the room. Before he does, in case Steve, anyone's leaving the room with Tony, where can the people find you?
Right now the best bet is Mind in the Gutters on Instagram. Just type in Mind in the Gutters. It's a play on words. We're not like a porn place. Like the gutters of a book, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's fun. Yeah, you're a pervert.
Yeah. Great.
But yeah.
Oh, Tony, say our thank yous.
Oh gosh. So I'd like to say our thank yous to Ryan Mira of Yellow Pills at Yellow Pills Music on Instagram for doing our music. I'd like to thank Eclectic Muses on socials Stephanie for doing our artwork, and thank you to producer Maria. Thank you, producer Maria.
Thank you,
You're
producer
welcome.
Maria.
Yeah, she's the best. And thank you, Steve. It's
She's the
always
best.
fun to have you on.
Always love seeing you, buddy.
All right.
A reminder to follow us at LegalPod on Instagram and Blue Sky. Like, subscribe, leave us those 5-star reviews. We appreciate it. As far as I know, I think we might stick with 1 o'clock next week. But I am gonna take a poll to Instagram. So go take the poll. I'm really impressed how many people are in the chat when we just announced the time yesterday. That makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Means you're paying attention. We love you for it. If you are watching along with Tony and don't want spoilers, leave the room.
Time for me to leave. Leave the room.
You made him leave the bar. That's so funny.
What can I say?
Get out.
So a few things. First of all, he fucking figured out Quake, but like you said Inhumans, and I don't know if he
that's fair
still gets it.
And you said to me Quake and Inhumans. To be fair, you warned me, but
yeah.
I just was like, Quake is an Inhuman. It like if you looked her up, the first thing you would see is Inhuman. So, but I see you and the chat's point about like he still doesn't know no. So that's fair. That's fair.
What's funny is though he's watched Inhumans the show and I haven't. So, but Maria says like Tony definitely didn't catch it. I don't think he caught it either. But we're happy for him that he figured out Quake.
That was impressive.
Impressive.
That was a segment to clip. like you being like, hey, welcome, hi Tony, and he's like, sky's Quake. That was so funny.
No, we did learn a few episodes ago that Daisy's her real name, but we're still not calling her Daisy because Tony doesn't know that. But like that's also that's harder than Quake, is not calling her Daisy. Like we never really called her Quake. But it was fun to see all of the chat freak out. But it is getting like harder. If we had somebody who I wasn't like good friends with, like you on today, and I had to explain to them, don't say Quake, or like it's just gonna be stress people out. So
I laughed. I read your text to Nat because I started laughing so hard because I was like, dude, thank God she told me that.
We had just finished the episode. I was like, oh shit, I gotta check this.
Yeah, no, it was smart. It was very smart to do.
It all worked out. And of course, we do have to. Everyone's excited. We do have to wish Fitzsimmons a happy anniversary because
happy anniversary
7 years ago, which is very cute. Yeah, like it's so funny. We're always talking about Fitzsimmons. Like Tony's like, I know they're gonna fucking end, but like he has no idea. He has no idea what's going to happen. To Fitzsimmons.
No.
The fucking
Certainly not.
Turmoil is just. This is what's happening between them now is fucking cake.
Yeah,
compared to
there's still so much of this that he might even. I mean, there were times where I was just like, maybe it won't happen. You know, like times in watching the series. So yeah, he's got a long road of Fitzsimmons ahead of him.
A couple things. So like I feel like it is kind of alluding to Quake being known eventually as the Destroyer of Worlds. With season 5 is so crazy, and we do learn that like she's not really the Destroyer of Worlds, but it doesn't change the fact that she's called that. So yeah, important.
What a fucking thing to be called, by the way. You know what I mean? Like no wonder she was so freaked out. People are calling her that. You know, like that's a heavy weight to bear and to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Real chill.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to say is the poster. It's supposed to be Sif, but because it's blue, she actually looks in that image like Sonara, the Kree in season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like when I saw that at first, I had a double look at it because I was like, is that Sonara? But it was just kind of a coincidence because I'm sure that character had not been conceived at this point.
You know who I thought at first was Quake. Like when you originally pulled it up, I was like, that's Quake. It took me a second to realize it was Sif. When you take a minute to look at it, you're like, oh yeah, duh. But I think I like yours better than mine. Yours would make more sense than mine.
Yeah. Alice, that's what I would need to be reminded of. So I hit my points. Okay, Steve, tell us like what you were annoyed about at this period.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, and this is just my experience as I was like reading them and really stoked for the MCU rolling out. Fox and Disney were still fighting over mutants. And I love your hoodie, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Thanks.
Amazing. And you know I'm a big X-Men fan. X-Men way more than Inhumans. So this was the first instance of the MCU affecting what was written versus what was written affecting or mapping out the MCU. But while they were having those fight, Marvel writers or like the Marvel comic book industry started to be like, if we lose mutants, like if we're never going to get mutants, then we're going to start to phase them out and make the Inhumans the star child. So they had a storyline right around the time that this Inhumans storyline was happening on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where the Terrigen Mist was killing off mutants. And I was like, don't you fucking do it. Don't you do it, Marvel. Don't you do it. And, like Miss Marvel, she was Inhuman. And that was like their launch of like trying to make Inhumans more popular than mutants in the books. I don't have anything really against Inhumans. But I'm a Marvel, I'm a mutant.
Sure, I think I don't know
yeah.
many people who are like Inhumans are better than mutants. I don't, I had never heard of Inhumans before this show, to be honest.
So what I love about this show and like the idea of going back and rewatching the show is that I've let that go since then. It all worked out. Mutants didn't go away in the comics or whatever. But at the time, I remembered while I was watching this that I was kind of side-eyeing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I was like, you better not kill Cyclops. Don't you touch Gambit. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I was looking at IMDb for next week's episode, and next week is a fun one. It's the Cal episode where he like starts to round up like power people who were like really fucked up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And we're 2 weeks away from Love in the Time of Hydra, the episode we named ourselves after. So I feel like we got to do something special, but I don't know what that could be.
Yeah, you definitely have to.
Yeah,
I'll brainstorm.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Steven. We always love having you. I'm sad that there are no more Sif episodes. Like, obviously, we'll have you again. This was what if you're like, sorry, Steve, she's done, you're done.
On this podcast wiki, I can be deemed just the Lady Sif. I was on every Lady Sif episode, so it works out. I'll take it.
That's your bit of trivia. Thanks to everyone who's listening. Next episode, March 16th, I believe. And again, I think we're gonna stick with one, but keep an eye out for that poll, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, okay, bye.